We are back, vlog number 19 with slight delay for some reasons I'm gonna explain. And so yeah, week 19 of my training block was last week. Actually, this is week number 20, but I'll sum it up later in the week anyway. And last week I introduced oxymetabolone just to kind of peak for my last 2 weeks of the current training phase. And it backfired in terms of skyrocketing my hemoglobin and hematocrit because my volume of training has gone down significantly. So although it is kind of geared towards improving your performance in terms of strength and whatnot, I scaled back my training volume a bit too much. So my hemoglobin hematocrit went through the roof and I just felt lethargic as fuck. So and I was taking it only on training days as well. So yeah, that went out straight away. But I did blood test within a week. As soon as I felt it, I felt something does not feel right, and just sucked it off. So actually have my blood tests in front of me. I just thought I'm gonna do it at a peak of my training phase. So hemoglobin, hematocrit is slightly high, everything else is great. Liver is great, kidneys absolutely phenomenal. HbA1c is great, cholesterol a little bit raised, but that was because I had some really crappy food just day before. So that was to expect, and everything else is fine. So all multivitamins, all micronutrients, showing that I have enough greens in me, definitely getting sun exposure and all those kind of things. So yeah, estrogen slightly higher than normal range, but it's much lower than usually I have. So this could explain why my recovery has gone to shit lately and why I couldn't sleep. Prolactin a bit high, but that has never been an issue. Like I always have it elevated, and cortisol is high, which explains why prolactin is high. But yeah, none of those really affect me apart from high hematocrit really tanked my ability to do things. So blood donation it is. That being said, training has gone really well. Wrapping it up now. Everything's feeling great, and to be honest, not much to add. These last 2 weeks have been extremely boring. I'm like training twice a week and that's about it. Tomorrow is my last training session on this training block, or maybe day after. I'll decide it yet. But yeah, I'm gonna pretty much get someone else to work with for my next block because all of my training sessions will have to fit around my lifestyle, which will incorporate a lot of seminars in between everything I do. First one is week after next. No, next weekend. So next weekend I have 4 nights because I'm gonna be doing a virtual seminar online. Based on American timeline, so it will be interesting. And all my year is going to be like that. Every 4 to 6 weeks, I will have 4 to 6 day long seminars where I will just be relearning everything, scrapping everything, scratching everything, and rebuilding myself from inside out. So I will be hiring someone else to see any blind spots in regards to what I could do better in terms of recovery, in terms of nutrition, in terms of training. So I'm gonna literally hire someone with more of a holistic type mindset, who's more focused on all the herbal stuff, all the daytime exposure things, precision with your supplements and whatnot, based on cognitive skill mixed with hypertrophy. So I am not looking into anything strength related anymore. So I'm definitely going to keep on working with Andy. There's no question about that. He actually offered me a great opportunity to do some stuff with him, which I'm going to take up on as soon as I go through all these courses. But at this point, I need someone who is more relaxed, and more fit to my needs that are coming up on my journey for personal development. Because this year I won't be able to compete. I don't even want to compete this year because I have completely different plans set out for myself first, and then next year come back bigger, better, whatever the hell. Usually level up and whatever people keep telling. But yeah, hypertrophy phase coming back very soon. I did couple sets on biceps curls. I think like 3 sets of same exercise just a couple days ago, yeah, I can feel that my body is ready for hypertrophy training, 100%. Doing 1-2 sets of 1-2 reps for over 20 weeks has been great. I definitely feel fittest, strongest, healthiest I have been in a very, very long time. Definitely at this body weight. But time to change goals, time to set new goalposts, time to reflect on where I am, what I have done, how can I take this, incorporate in my next training phase, and mix it up with all the seminars that I can take part in, and just see if I can get the most out of it. Because let's be honest, I do it for the purpose of whom I want to work with. I want to work with people who are business oriented, extremely busy, have family lives, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to put myself through extremely challenging times as if I'm running multiple businesses and try to maintain my physique at highest level possible. And I'm up to task. I love this shit. So I'm going to answer some questions and pretty much going to try to make this shorter than usual. So first one, how to get as muscular as possible. Fucking eat, sleep, train, repeat. There isn't really much to it. It's so damn simple that it's really hard to even answer that in one sentence, in the sense that it's so obvious, but no one wants to do it. It's phenomenal. You have to give up every single minute of your day just to eat, sleep, and train to get hypermuscular. You can get decent physique, you can look like myself if you want to waste like 15-20 years on that. Well, I say waste, let's be honest, I'm never going to change, and I just love training too much. No matter what's happening, I will look similar until I get to the point where I just can't eat. And that's when my size is going to go down. So at the moment I'm still fairly comfortable with 5,000 calories a day. Anything more than that would really interfere with everything else I do. I just don't have time to eat more. So I feel good at my body weight. I feel good at my appetite levels, and all those things are really playing into place. But depending as muscular as possible, you need to define what is possible for you, what is realistic, how much work do you do, how much food can you afford. Everyone thinking about drugs, but let's be honest, I think there is an actual question later on. Yeah, how to achieve a pro physique? Do you need tons of drugs? No. If you need hell of a lot of drugs to turn pro, you'll never be a pro. Simple truth is, every pro I know is hyper responder to smallest amount of drugs. That's why they look the way they look, that's why they can perform the way they can perform, and that's why they can do like Dexter Jackson, compete until they bloody 54, I think he retired, or 52, something like that. So he can get away with smallest amount of drugs for longest amount of time and gets the best response ever. More drugs does not mean more muscle. Like I just explained beforehand, I took, I think, 4 or 5 oxymedalons, and it completely ruined me. Like fatigue, lethargy, tired as hell, no motivation. It was just too much for my body. Bear in mind, I don't take much of stuff anyway, you know. That makes me laugh when people go, just take more of this and take more of that. No, that's never an answer. If your body can't deal with that, what's the bloody point? So, and I know quite a lot of pros, and very few of them ever take a lot of stuff. I know, for example, I have seen what Rolly Winkler takes. There's no wonder he has to retire. He's just fallen apart lately. You know, bear in mind, not what he takes now, what he used to take to get to his physique. And then it was just downhill from there. So just last couple of years, what he used to take, it was just horrendous. And no wonder his body is packing in. He's just not bringing back that physique he used to have. And he's falling apart. There is really no need for that. But most pros I know, they take laughable amounts of stuff. And people never believe them. And they're like, why would we lie? Because let's be honest, like for when you look at myself, I need to pack a hell of a lot of muscle just to look semi-decent. Look on someone like Arnold Schwarzenegger. He has big frame, but he has tiny bone structure. So his biceps, I have same arm size as he had, and his arms look 2 times bigger because his bone structure are much thinner. You know, you can't out-drag that. You know, people who have the biggest amount of muscle on them are usually much lighter in sense of bone mass and that kind of stuff. And girth of the bones, of the joints is much smaller as well. So they can get away with actually being smaller but looking 3 times bigger than someone next to them at same body weight and sometimes same muscle mass. You know what I mean? So no, you definitely, so to get as muscular as possible, define what's possible for you and then go with it. It's as simple as eat, sleep, train, repeat. You need to make sure your recovery is as intense as your training, and then everything's going to happen. And if you don't manage your stress, because low stress is extremely important for muscle gain, then you're not going to grow. So, and that through like walks, meditation, not giving a shit about anyone, and just eating high amounts of food, a lot of food. You can literally outwork some idiot who doesn't eat well and is on ton of drugs by just eating a lot of food. And to achieve pro physique, you need to live like a pro. Look at them. All they do is eat, sleep, train, repeat. Eat, sleep, train, repeat. You'll not see them on bloody rides or, you know, on a night out and this and that. If you want that lifestyle, if you're willing to give everything up that you have now, go for it. But just understand there is no, like, gold pot at the end of the rainbow. It's not 90s or 70s or 80s where they used to get paid really, really large amount of sums to make it worthwhile. Now you give up your life for what? Exactly. It's great, but it doesn't serve anyone. Being a professional bodybuilder does not improve anyone's life. Beforehand, yeah, you kind of send a message that, you know, being fit and healthy is this and that, but now they're not fit, they're not healthy. They look great, but it's pretty unrealistic to maintain unless you eat, sleep, train, repeat every single day. So, yeah. If you're just obsessed with it and love it, go for it. But if there is any other reason why you are looking into getting to that point to achieve a pro physique, get out of there. Just figure out how you can help people, and that will give you way more back in sense of emotions, in sense of well-being, wealth, you name it. You know, figure out how you can be useful for others will be much more useful, not only for others, but for yourself, than becoming a pro bodybuilder. That's just my take on it. What's your experience with using insulin and what type? My experience with insulin is very poor. I only got introduced to it just a few years ago, and I still can't wrap my head around it. And that's why you never see me with shitloads of like card drinks and whatnot. I just don't take insulin. So I don't have anything against it, but I haven't figured out how it works properly on me. So I don't see much of a use for it. I definitely might play with it in sense of how to use and whatnot. I'll most likely would incorporate that only in hypertrophy blocks. You know, if your recovery doesn't allow you to, throw it in straight after training just to replenish your glycogen quicker. I personally would not play around with stuff unless you need it, you know. make sure you actually eat well, train hard, and recover, because that's just another tool in your box. When you kind of hit the wall, then you can add that to take a strain of your body to produce ton of insulin just because you eat a hell of a lot of carbs. But truth be told, I was eating 900,000 grams of carbs before even freaking knowing what insulin is. And when I have played around with it, it didn't make much of a difference, if any. But to be super physiologically humongous, yeah, you 100% need it. The GH and insulins, and you can't separate them. But I am not at that size yet. So when I get to 130 kilos, then you know I'm on insulin. But so far, my experience, I've only seen Nova Rapid and Lantus. If I was to choose one over other, I wouldn't be able to make a difference because I just don't understand how it works on me, and everyone's completely different. As a rule of thumb, you can get away with Lantus taking it in the morning and forgetting it. I know people who take it before going to bed because it peaks so late. But yeah, that's something you need to figure out if you actually need it. If you're taking shitloads of GH, then yeah, probably. But my personal experience is very poor with it. Like, I just don't understand what it does. I just don't know when to get most out of it, and most of the time my food is all over the place still. I have never used something like that on a diet, which I know a lot of people do, but yeah, when I dwell more into it, which might be the case in future, but so far I can't justify it yet, so that's why my experience is piss poor on it. Should you have tests higher than DECA to mitigate DECA? Ooh, well, if that's something you need to decide by your blood test. Like, those two are very interesting. Mixing them together, you need to figure out if your body can actually tolerate that. I have seen a hell of a lot of guys on DECA just going mental. What I mean by that, they get emotional because progesterone rises and they fall out as people, this and that. It's no 19, obviously. It works very similar to like mild tren. But a lot of people can't even tolerate that. They get emotional, they get upset really quick and all that kind of stuff. But understand why you are actually thinking about these two things. There are so much better things out there. Like, stick with your Primobolan. Can't go wrong with Primobolan. Yeah, it's fucking expensive, but then you won't have to think about these kind of things. And more often than not, people have issues with sex drive because they overtrain, don't rest, don't drink enough water. They start taking shitloads of drugs and everything else goes to shit, and then they blame it on drugs, when in reality it was just a lifestyle that changed to worse. And they just could have figured out themselves. There is no such thing as right or wrong answer should you have tested more than DECA. But more often than not, you probably need less of everything. People always think that, oh, whatever you're saying must be 10 times more. No, it's usually opposite way around. And because of these kind of things, that whatever people say must be lies, they must be doing 10 times worse things, is why you have people like Boston Loyal dropping dead at 29. Like, what the fuck? Dude was warned, don't do this shit, no one is just doing it. And everyone's praising him. Wow, you're so honest, and great that someone's finally coming out. He wasn't honest. Okay, let me rephrase it. He might have been honest, but he was a fucking idiot. Killed himself, literally. Why? For what reason? Everyone was telling him, whatever the hell you're doing is fucking wrong. No one's doing it. You're making it up in your own head. And lo and behold, we have the outcome. Bloody, obviously, sad thing. But stop praising dude for being absolute knobhead. Everyone told him stop doing it. And he just carried on. So, what do you know about injectable choline? How, why would you use it? I hear people using it pre-workout with L-carnitine. People love taking all kind of shit. First of all, where do they find time jabbing all these things? Like you need to carry it around and then jab yourself before training. And listen, stick to eating your bloody eggs and steak, and you'll have enough choline. Okay, you can get more benefit from higher amount of choline, but then just buy some alpha GPC. Same exact thing. You know, you're gonna get benefits instantaneously, and you're gonna feel stronger on the same exact training session. A lot of pre-workouts now have alpha GPC in it, and that's exactly how it works. But it works only when you take it. So if you don't take it and come and train next week, you might feel exceptionally weaker and then feel like stressed about it. Oh, fucking hell, I've lost some strength and this and that. I don't know nothing about injectable one. Obviously, it must work if people do it. But, like say, imagine waking up, jabbing insulin, then jabbing PEDs, then jabbing choline, then jabbing carnitine, then GH after training, insulin after training, then... How do you find so much free time? I don't get it. I wish I have so much free time. I don't. But yeah, pre-workout L-carnitine. I've tried L-carnitine, never did anything for me. I know a lot of people who are using L-carnitine with exceptionally great results. They sweat, they go hypo, more energy, and so on and so forth. I never had any benefit from it whatsoever. Like none, zero. So it might be something different with my body's response to everything. But yeah, to me, it's just another gimmick, you know. What's the outcome? Is the outcome to have a great training session, or is the outcome in long term to achieve some kind of goal? Then focus on majoring things that actually matter. I always keep saying, stop majoring in minors. These are minor things that's in the long run not going to do any difference whatsoever, because impact is instantaneous and not chronic. So you'll feel the benefits straight away, but if you don't take a next training session, you'll feel weaker, less focused, and so on and so forth. So if you can't mentally hack it, you'll pretty much will turn into one of these people who come to gym and, oh, I forgot my intro workout, I'm not going to train types. You know, my experience is absolutely zero with injectable choline. I don't see any point if oral one works exactly the same. Well, if oral one works, I can't compare it because I have not done it injectable. But yeah, to me, it's just logistics would throw me off. I just wouldn't want to carry on a lot of stuff with me. But yeah, on all that stuff, I'm probably going to wrap it up and speak to you next week.